So this is the Halibro project. So we're going to need our motor arm. We're going to need the bottom cover for that, the end nylon cover, our motor, the screws for that, as well as the motor bottom, some more screws, and I'll explain what those screws are when we go. Our tools to connect those, connect everything. So first we're going to start out with our motor and the motor mount, as well as the M3/6 uh, socket cap screws. So I'm going to take out the screws, 4 of them, and put it, actually these are going to be different screws, so that's what it says in the directions, but we're actually going to use the screws from the motor that came with the motor, because the M3/6s are going to be too long. So these are the screws that came with the motor. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick the wire, make sure we stick it through that hole. That's the good way. If we stick it the other way, then it won't work. So we have to stick it through that little hole on the top front side from the motor with the wire, and then kind of try to bend it as best we can so that we can get it to lay flat on the motor base. Then we're going to get our screws and go ahead and screw it up through the bottom. When we are screwing these, we want to make sure that we are adding some Loctite, non-permanent, to all of these, as you can see. So almost every screw that we do, we're going to add this Loctite to it, so that with all the vibrations and movement, it doesn't come undone during the flight. Not everything will have it, but almost everything. So we're going to go ahead and tighten it up through the bottom. Speed it up a little bit, so we can get it just as tight as we can. Don't want to over tighten it, but just get it as tight as we can to keep it snug. Yep, and then go back through and make sure that it is all tight and snug while we're going. After that, we're going to go ahead and get our wide out and add it to all of our screws so that it touches the corner of the screw, as well as the main plate that screw is touching, so that we can see if there is any movement, if the screws are loosening or tightening or anything like that, we know beforehand, and we can check and be like, okay, we need to change something to make sure that they're in the right positions that way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stick that motor into the case. So like the front side, we're going to stick it out towards the end with the wire, and then get it as flat as we can. Now what we're going to do is get our next set of screws. So what these ones are is the M2.5. We're going to get 2 of them. It's the 2.5 12 screws. So we're going to add some Loctite and tighten them up on both of them. So the 2.5s are going to go closest to the regular arm, and then we are going to get 2 different ones for the front side, and that'll be the 3.6 screws. Sorry, 2.56 screws for the front side of that motor base. So I guess the video is a little bit different than what I told you. So this one that it's doing now should be the 2.512, and the first one should be the 2.56. And you only need 2 of them for both sides, the front and back. And make sure you get that Loctite, and then as well as the wide out for all 4 of them once you have them tightened up afterwards. Then we're going to slip that wire back inside. Make sure that it's all prepared that way, and then we're going to stick that back cover on. Now this is going to take the 2.56 screws up through the bottom. And these ones we're not going to want to tighten up all the way. Yep, we're only going to need 2 of them. We're not going to tighten it up all the way, just to make sure that we can get to it afterwards, because we're going to have to do some changes along the way and make sure that we have it correctly assembled. Yep, so no Loctite or wide out, because when we do make those changes, we'd have to Loctite it and wide out it every time that we do that. So just makes it faster, easier, and it's not something that's super essential to tighten down. Now we're going to get our nylon parts on the back. We're going to make sure that that further nub is sticking out towards the motor. There should be a little hole on the carbon fiber that you stick the hole, or the little stick, into that hole. And then you want to clamp them together on both sides. Make sure that the little clamp in the middle is fastened on both sides. And then you're set. And what you want to do now is go ahead and pause the video and do the other control arms. Now what we're going to do is put the rubber pieces onto the little mounts, little plastic mounts. So you just stick it in the middle and have it face like that. Go ahead and do that to the rest of them. Once you got them all together, then we're going to get our 2 long rods, our little sidebar clips. Push the little sidebar clips together. There should be 2 of them. Have them pretty evenly spaced apart towards one side, one in the middle, and one kind of a quarter of the way down the pipe. And we'll want to push 2 of those hanger rubber ring gaskets and hangers on. We'll do a pair on the short end, and then we'll add the rest of them to the other side, spaced out evenly. And you want to kind of follow the orientation of them that it is in the video. Some will be facing up, some will be facing down. So make sure you get that correctly so that you're not orienting them the wrong way while we're going. And there you go, just even them up and get them square. And then after that, we're going to get our battery mounting board. And we're going to use our 2.56 screws for these. It'll be the sunk screws that we're going to be using. So for this top part, we're going to need 4 of them. Make sure to add some Loctite. And that the Loctite is mixed as best you can, then it won't just be liquid coming out, but you'll actually get some product coming out. Put a little dab on there. You don't need a lot of Loctite, just a little drop on one side, and that should be sufficient. So go ahead and put it on. And you don't want it all the way fastened, as tight as you can get it. Just kind of get it on, and then do the rest of them. And once you have the rest of them on there, go ahead and snug it up tight so that you can get a secure and square fit on there. So now that we got our fit, we're going to move down to the platform board. So this will use the sunk screws 2.56, and we'll need 8 of these to secure the platform board. As you can see, I'm sticking the screws on the table. It's probably not the best idea, but I would put them somewhere a little bit more secure. So I'm just kind of cleaning up all the Loctite from the top of that mounting board. And adding the whiteout. So as you can see, I moved on as well. It is easy to forget the whiteout, but it is something that's very necessary. So go ahead and go back if you've missed any, and just kind of remember to put that whiteout on. So now we'll do that platform board. And like I said before, don't do it all the way up tight. Just kind of have it loose, but screwed in a little bit, and get all of yours on that you can, and then go back through and do the rest of the screws. Might be a little hard to get all of the little hanger pieces squared where they need to be, but just kind of be patient and do the best that you can to get them in the right spot. Then we're going to speed up the video a little bit to really get that done. And if you have any questions, go ahead and refer to the assembly guide. It has a lot of the instructions there that are very helpful. Hopefully this video helps you the best that it can. If you have any questions, go ahead and contact me, or Duke as well. He can help you out with anything that you need that way. Then once you get the all of them kind of on, make sure that you secure and tighten them up all the way after that. Then you might have put a little bit of excess Loctite, so like I'm doing here, go ahead and wipe off that extra Loctite so that you can have a good place to put all the whiteout dashes on there, and so that the whiteout doesn't come off. Now to move on, we're going to secure the bottom plate. So we're going to flip over that component that we made already, and we're going to orient it in a certain way so that our little circle. And our arrow is facing a certain way on the board. So yeah, so as you can see, we're gonna have the circle, little oval-ish looking, not towards the, it'll be facing away the platform board, and then the rectangular piece of the battery will be on the side of that board, that platform board. That is the correct orientation. Make sure it is that way, so that later on videos or different videos will be able to explain it to you in the correct way. What we're going to do is we're going to be using 2.56 socket cap screws. These will be the socket cap screws, make sure. And we're going to tighten all these different pieces on. Have to kind of twist them to make sure that the screws will actually screw in to the hangers and through the board. So how you want your legs is so that they're kind of diagonaled outwards. Then you'll go through the top of that bottom plate to screw in those M38 screws. And this one, it doesn't matter which side is which or how you, if you have it so that one leg is one side or one is the other, it's the same for both legs. So this one you don't have to worry as much for the orientation. But go ahead, like before, get all the screws on. Don't have to do them all tight, but just get them on as best you can. And as you notice, in this part it's a little bit different. We haven't put on the ESC or anything like that, so we're gonna wait for that just for a little bit and go ahead and add it later once we have it all soldered in the ways that we want it to be. And that'll probably be covered it will be covered in a different video of how to do that. Now we're going to have to loosen up these two outside screws for the legs, the landing gear crossbar. Not the legs, sorry. The landing gear crossbar, loosen them up so that we can attach them to the legs. Those will be more of our feet of the quadcopter to keep them up, to keep it up and stable. So go ahead and slide it in as far as we can. Might have to push it down, get the drone as square as you can on the table and on the crossbars, and then go ahead and tighten up those different areas. Yep, so make sure it's square, make sure you're not pushed out too much on one side or anything like that. Now this won't need Loctite on it just because it does have those fastening bolts or fastening nuts on there, so It should be good to not have that Loctite. It should stay without needing it. Just another double check to make sure it's flat and square on both sides. Then once we're for sure it's flat and square, go ahead and tighten it up all the way. Now what we're going to do is, while this video is finishing out, we're going to, in a different video, cover how to put the ESC and the receiver together and the transmitter and get it all wired, connected, and everything that we need for that. So go ahead and end this video and look for that other one to continue on. Thanks.